I took a road trip with my boss, but one night on the highway changed our direction. The engine hummed low, a steady growl cutting through the pre-dawn chill of I-80, somewhere between Omaha and the endless nothing of Wyoming. I gripped the wheel tighter than I needed to, my knuckles whitening against the leather. At 28, I'd clawed my way into this gig as a junior account exec at Sterling Media in Chicago. Endless nights pitching ad campaigns to faceless suits. Coffee breath and fluorescent buzz my constant companions. But Ethan Hale? He was the boss. 42, sharp as a switchblade, with that effortless command that made boardrooms bend. CEO of the whole damn empire. And now, here we were, barreling west on this forced road trip, him shotgun, me driving, the air between us thick as the fog rolling off the Platte River. It started as a pitch, team building, he'd called it, his voice smooth over the phone 2 weeks back. You and me, Alex, hit the West Coast clients face to face. No flights, real miles, real talk. I'd nodded like an idiot, heart pounding not from the drive but from the way his eyes lingered a beat too long during our last meeting. Ethan was straight-edge Midwest royalty. Divorced 5 years ago, no kids, just that ghost of a smile when he talked about his cabin up in Door County. Or so the office whispered. Me? I'd buried my own secrets deep, coming out in college only to slam the closet door shut for the corporate climb. Gay in the heartland meant careful steps, sidelong glances. But Ethan, God, those green eyes, they saw too much. The hook hit me hard that first night in a no-name diner off the interstate, fluorescent lights buzzing like angry hornets. We'd grab burgers, greasy, overcooked patties dripping with that fake cheese whiz, the kind that sticks to your fingers and your regrets. He leaned back in the booth, tie loosened, sleeves rolled up to show forearms corded from weekend hikes. You ever feel like you're just chasing shadows, Alex? His voice dropped low, gravelly from the day's dust. I froze, ketchup bottle mid-squeeze, the sharp tang hitting my nose like a warning. Shadows. Yeah, I knew them. The ones that crept in when I scrolled Grindr at 2 a.m., then deleted the app before dawn. All the time, I muttered, forcing a laugh that came out hollow. Our knees brushed under the table, accidental, electric. He didn't pull away. That's when the maw of it opened. This trip wasn't about clients. It was us. Him seeing me wanting to be seen, and the highway stretching out like a vein, ready to bleed us dry. We rolled out at sunrise, the sky bruising purple over cornfields that whispered secrets in the wind. Ethan's playlist droned from the speakers. Springsteen mostly, Thunder Road on repeat, that raspy howl about leaving it all behind. I caught him staring out the window, jaw tight, fingers drumming the armrest. Penny for him? I asked, voice lighter than I felt. He turned, slow, like he was measuring the distance between us. Just thinking about the divorce. How I drove out to the lake the night she left. Sat there till the stars blurred. A pause, heavy as the coffee sloshing in my thermos. The scent of it, bitter, grounding, filled the cab. I swallowed, tasting my own unspoken ache. Sounds lonely. His laugh was short, a puff of breath fogging the glass. Lonely's a choice, kid. Or maybe it's just me. Kid. It stung, that casual dismissal. But his hand landed on my shoulder then, warm, lingering. My pulse thrummed under his palm. We didn't speak for 50 miles, just the tires chewing asphalt, the faint creak of the suspension like bones settling. By noon, the plains flattened into a sea of gold, heat mirages dancing on the horizon. We stopped at a roadside stand for gas and those powdery corn dogs that taste like regret and childhood fairs. Ethan bit into his, mustard dripping, and grinned boyish, unguarded. Remember your first road trip? He asked, wiping his mouth with the back of his hand. I leaned against the truck, the metal hot under my palms, sun baking the freckles on my arms. With my dad. Florida, 98. He blasted Garth Brooks the whole way. A sigh escaped me, unbidden, carrying the ghost of salt air and arguments muffled by engine roar. Ethan's eyes softened, that green depth pulling me in. Mine was with my brother. Crossed the Badlands. Taught me how to spot a storm coming. He stepped closer, close enough I could smell his cologne. Cedar and smoke, cutting through the fry oil haze. Storms change you, Alex. Make you see clear. Our gazes locked, the world narrowing to the hum of cicadas and the unspoken dare hanging there. I wanted to say it then, how he'd been my storm since day one. But the pump clicked off, shattering the moment. We drove on, the radio fading to static, my heart a drum in my chest. Afternoon bled into the kind of quiet that presses in, thick as humidity. Wyoming's first hills rose like knuckles from the earth, scrub brush clawing at the sky. Ethan dozed, head lolled against the window, lashes dark against his skin. I stole glances, tracing the line of his throat, the way his chest rose steady under his shirt. 42 looked good on him. Lines etched from laughter and loss, not defeat. Me, 28 felt like borrowed time, all sharp edges and untested wants. The office had been safe. Nods in hallways, emails that lingered on subtext. But here, confined to this tin can on wheels, the air crackled. A semi roared past, horn blaring deep and mournful, jolting him awake. Shit, he grumbled, rubbing his neck, voice thick with sleep. The sound sent a shiver down my spine. Raw, intimate, dreaming. I teased, keeping my eyes on the road. He stretched, shirt pulling taut. About routes not taken. His hand brushed my thigh as he adjusted. Deliberate? Accidental? The heat of it seared through denim. I gripped the wheel harder, tasting salt on my lips from biting back words. We hit Rollins by dusk, the sun dipping low, painting the motel sign in bloody orange. Cheyenne rose in. It blinked. Half the neon fritzed out. The room was a time capsule. Faded floral wallpaper, a bed sagging in the middle like it had heard too many confessions. One queen. Budget cuts? Ethan shrugged, tossing his duffel on the chair. My stomach flipped, a mix of dread and hunger. We showered one after the other, steam curling under the door like smoke signals. I went first, water scalding my skin, soap suds tracing paths I wished his fingers would. Emerging in boxers and a tea towel drying my hair, I caught him in the mirror, watching. His eyes dark, unreadable. Your turn, I said, voice steady by miracle. He stripped off his shirt without flourish, back to me, muscles shifting under skin marked by a faded tattoo. A compass rose, ink blurred at the edges. Stories there, I knew. The door clicked shut, water hissing to life. I sat on the bed's edge, sheets cool against my thighs, listening to the spray, imagining outlines in the mist. Minutes stretched, my breath sinking with the rhythm. When he emerged, towel low on hips, droplets beating on his chest, the room shrank. Long day, he murmured, but his voice caught, a hitch like fabric tearing. Dinner was takeout from a strip mall Thai place. Pad see ew sticky with sauce, spring rolls crunching under teeth. We ate cross-legged on the carpet, backs against the bed, the TV murmuring some cop drama rerun. Laughter bubbled up, easy at first, shop talk turning to dumb client fails like the time I botched a pitch and blamed the projector. His knee pressed mine, warm and unyielding. You're good, Alex. Better than good. The words hung, laced with something heavier. I set my plate down, the clink loud in the hush. Ethan. A breath, ragged. His hand found my jaw, thumb rough against stubble. Don't. But he leaned in anyway, slow as a confession. Our lips met, tentative then crashing, salt and spice and years of want. His mouth was firm, tasting of lime and restraint broken. I pulled him closer, fingers tangling in damp hair, the world tilting like the truck on a curve. Gasps mingled, his sigh hot against my neck. Fuck, Alex. A sound that unraveled me. We tumbled back, bodies aligning in the dim lamplight, skin electric under seeking hands. The highway outside hummed on, indifferent, but in that room directions shattered. Morning light sliced through thin curtains, a buttery glow that did nothing to soften the wreckage on the floor. Crumpled takeout boxes, shirts tangled like evidence. I woke to Ethan's arm heavy across my waist, his breath steady against my shoulder blade, warm puffs stirring the fine hairs there. For a heartbeat, it was perfect. The musk of us lingering in the sheets, twisted and damp, the faint tick of the AC unit fighting the desert heat. At 28, I'd hooked up before, furtive, fumbling in bars or backseats, but this was collision, not collision course. Ethan stirred, murmuring something low, his hand tightening possessive. "Morning," I whispered, turning to face him. Those green eyes opened slow, unguarded, a smile cracking like dawn. "Hey, you." His voice was gravel from sleep and shouts we'd muffled into pillows hours before. We kissed lazy, tongues tracing lazy hellos, his stubble rasping my chin like sandpaper promise. But reality crept in with the coffee maker's gurgle downstairs, black brew dripping into styrofoam like accusations. We dressed in silence, me tugging on jeans that smelled of highway dust, him buttoning his shirt with fingers that trembled just once. "Last night," he started, leaning against the dresser, the wood creaking under his weight. I nodded, throat tight, the air conditioner's hum underscoring the pause. "Yeah." No regrets in my tone, but the fear? It coiled cold in my gut, sharp as the motel's cheap razor nicking my jaw that morning. Ethan was the boss, Sterling's golden boy, whispers of boardroom politics and investor eyes on him. Me? Dispensable junior, the one who'd vanish if this blew. "We can't." "Not like this," he said finally, words clipped, eyes on the floor. The rejection landed soft but sure, a tire blowout at 70 miles per hour. I forced a grin, bitter as the creamer packet tearing under my nails. "Understood. Road trip buddies." He winced, stepping close, hand cupping my neck, thumb stroking the pulse there, erratic. "Alex, it's not fuck." A sigh, deep, rattling from his chest. "You're everything I shouldn't want. Everything." The word echoed, a hook snagging deeper. We hit the road by 9, the Cheyenne Rose shrinking in the rearview, a faded postcard of what-ifs. Wyoming unfolded brutal, jagged Rockies clawing the sky, wind whipping sagebrush into frenzied dances. Ethan's playlist shifted to Dylan, like a rolling stone, that harmonica wail cutting through the cab like judgment. I drove, jaw set, stealing glances at his profile. The way his fingers flexed on the map, creased and worn, tracing routes we'd veer from now. "Pull over," he said abrupt, after an hour of taut quiet. Aspen groves blurred past, leaves shivering silver. I eased onto a turnout, gravel crunching under tires, the engine ticking cool. He climbed out, boots scuffing dirt, and paced to the guardrail. Wind tugged his hair, carrying the sharp pine bite that stung my eyes. I followed, heart thudding like bass in a dive bar. "Talk to me?" I pressed, voice lost in the gusts. He turned, face etched raw, lines deeper in the alpine light. I lied. About the divorce. A beat, wind howling. She knew. About me. Always did. The confession hung, heavy as storm clouds banking west. Me. He meant men. My breath caught, a hitch like fabric ripping. "Then why?" His hand found mine, rough palm engulfing, squeezing till bones ground. "Because wanting you terrifies me. You're young, hungry. I'm built for the long haul, but the wrong one." We stood there, hands linked over the abyss, valley dropping steep below, echoing with a distant eagle's cry, sharp and lonely. His thumb traced my knuckles, calloused from signing deals that buried dreams. I leaned in, forehead to his, breaths mingling hot and uneven. "I'm not running, Ethan. Not from this." Lies, maybe, my resume packed, escape routes mapped in my head. But his kiss then was fierce, wind-whipped, tasting of mint gum and mountain air, bodies pressing rail hard. We broke apart gasping, his laugh ragged. "Christ, Alex, you're trouble." "Trouble." Yeah. The kind that rewires your GPS. Back in the truck, his hand stayed on my thigh. Casual now, but loaded. The miles melted, tension coiling tighter. A spring wound to snap. Afternoon brought snowy range, passes twisting like veins through peaks that pierced clouds. We stopped at a overlook, thermos steaming with reheated sludge, the steam curling like ghosts. Ethan pulled sandwiches from the cooler. Ham on rye, mustard sharp on the tongue, bread soft from hours trapped. To detours, he toasted, clinking his water bottle to mine. Laughter bubbled. Real this time, easing the knot in my chest. He told stories then. Boyhood summers fishing Lake Michigan. The slap of waves on docks. Minnows wriggling in buckets. His voice wove vivid. The fishy reek clinging to skin. The thrill of a tug on the line. I shared mine. Chicago winters. Skating the rink at Millennium Park. Blades hissing ice. Breath fogging like secrets. Our knees touched on the bench. Rock cold under us. But warmth built where fabric met. You skate? He asked, eyebrow arched. Like shit, I admitted, grinning. But it clears the head. His eyes held mine, that green depth swirling. Good. We'll need clear heads. For what? The question unspoken, but his fingers laced mine brief. Promise or plea? Dusk fell fast in the mountains, shadows pooling in crevices like ink. We descended into Laramie, neon flickering alive, cowboy cafe, steam rising from griddles inside, booths sticky with syrup residue, air thick with bacon sizzle and coffee grind. Ethan ordered steaks, rare, blood pooling on plates like accusations. We ate slow, forks scraping ceramic, eyes meeting over candle flicker from a Miller Lite ad. Tomorrow Salt Lake, he said, voice low under the jukebox croon. Some Patsy Cline lament about crazy arms. My foot hooked his under the table, deliberate, the nudge sending sparks up my calf. And after, the question slipped, vulnerable. He set his knife down, deliberate, the clink loud. After, we figure it, not end it. Hope flickered, fragile as the flame dancing between us. Back at the motel, a squat brick number with Laramie Lodge in peeling paint. We didn't pretend. Door locked with a solid thunk. His mouth on mine before the key hit the nightstand. Clothes shed in a frenzy, buttons pinging carpet. His hands mapping me like uncharted miles. Rough, reverent. We moved urgent, bodies slick with sweat, the bed frame groaning protest. His whispers, God, Alex, yes. Hot against my ear, unraveling me thread by thread. After, tangled in sheets that smelled of starch and us, his heartbeat thrummed steady under my palm. Sleep came heavy, dreamless, the highway's distant roar a lullaby. Utah's salt flats gleamed under a merciless sun the next morning. A vast white expanse cracked like old porcelain, heat waves shimmering illusions of water. We left Laramie at crack of dawn, the truck's AC wheezing against the climb. Ethan's hand idle on my knee as I navigated switchbacks that hugged cliffs like fearful lovers. Last night's echoes lingered, faint bruises on my hips, his cologne faint on my collar, but the light of day sharpened edges. Coffee? He asked, voice husky, passing a thermos. The brew was tepid, bitter with grounds, but his fingers brushed mine deliberate, sparking memory. I sipped, eyes on the road, the white-knuckle grip easing. At 28, this felt like teetering, a high-wire act without net. Every mile a step toward fall or flight. Ethan, 42 and forged in boardroom fires, hummed along to the radio. Some Eagles track about taking it easy, irony thick as the dust plume trailing us. The flats hit like a hallucination, endless mirror mocking our speed. We pulled over at a rest area, boots crunching salt crust that crinkled underfoot like fresh snow. Wind whispered low, carrying a mineral tang that coated the tongue. Ethan stretched, arms overhead, shirt riding up to show a sliver of abdomen. Taut, dusted dark. Race you, he grinned, boyish challenge in his eyes. We bolted, awkward on the slick surface, laughter barking out sharp and free. He won, of course, longer strides, lungs tested by years of runs along Chicago's lakefront. Spinning me into his arms at the finish, breathless, he kissed me fierce, salt on lips, wind in hair. "You're gaining," he teased, forehead to mine, breaths sinking ragged. My hands fisted his shirt, pulling closer, the vast emptiness around us amplifying heartbeats. "On you? Impossible." The words meant layers, and his squeeze said he heard. Back on blacktop, tension simmered low, his thumb circling patterns on my thigh, radio static breaking Springsteen with weather warnings, thunderstorms brewing east. Salt Lake loomed by noon. The city sprawled like a mirage at the foot of Wasatch Peaks. Great Salt Lake a hazy blue smear. Client meeting at a sleek downtown high-rise. Glass and steel reflecting sun like knives. I pitched the campaign, slides clicking smooth. Targeted ads for their outdoor gear line, evoking freedom, escape. Ethan watched from the corner, arms crossed, that nod of his ceiling deals. But under the table, his foot nudged mine. Secret Morse, dash of want. Post-meeting handshake firm, but his whisper in the elevator, "Proud of you." Warmth bloomed, chasing the AC chill. We escaped to a bistro nearby, cobblestone streets, air laced with espresso and pine from nearby canyons. Salads crisp with vinaigrette bite, bread warm tearing soft. "Remember that pitch in Chicago?" he asked, fork spearing olive. "The one where you froze?" I winced, the memory sour. Spotlight hot, words sticking like gum. "Yeah, thought I'd tanked." His smile crooked. "You didn't. Saved it with that improv about Heartland hunger." Stuck with me. Heartland hunger. Layers again. His gaze holding mine across the table. Green depths swirling promise. Afternoon freed us. Client wined and dined. Us loose on Temple Square's manicured paths. Mormon spires piercing sky like declarations. Tourists milled, murmurs blending with fountain splashes. The air cool with evaporating mist. Ethan's hand brushed my back guiding through crowds. Casual to eyes, current to skin. We ducked into a quiet alcove. Benches worn smooth by confessions. "This place," he said, settling close, our shoulders touching. "Feels like judgment." A pause, his sigh soft, carrying weight of hidden years. I turned, studying the lines bracketing his mouth. Laughter's gift, sorrow's toll. Or absolution. My voice low, hand finding his on the wood slats, fingers interlacing hidden. He squeezed, thumb stroking knuckle. "Maybe. With you." The admission hung, fragile as the spiderweb glistening nearby. Dew-kissed. We sat till shadows lengthened, talking detours. His first love, a summer fling with a lifeguard in '98. Waves crashing cover for stolen kisses. My college awakening, dorm room fumblings amid pizza boxes and textbooks. Laughter mingled with sighs, the fountain's rhythm underscoring vulnerability. Dusk painted the lake in fire, orange ripples lapping shores like eager tongues. We drove the causeway, windows down, wind salty and wild, whipping words into fragments. Motel was a kitschy number, Salt Mirage, with palm motifs on doors and a pool glowing turquoise under floodlights. Room overlooked water, curtains sheer, moonrise silvering waves. Dinner. Room service burgers, fries crisp with sea salt, eaten on the balcony as crickets chorused. To horizons, Ethan toasted, lifting his beer, foam clinging to bottle, clink of glass, then silence comfortable, broken by a gull's cry sharp overhead. His knee pressed mine under the table, heat building. "Alex." Voice rough, eyes dark. We migrated inside, door clicking shut like a vow. Lights low, his hands unbuttoned me slow. Reverent, tracing collarbone, ribs, the dip of navel. I arched, gasp escaping as lips followed, hot trails down chest. Bed dipped under us, springs sighing, bodies aligning fluid, exploration turning urgent. hips grinding rhythm to breaths. His name on my tongue, a chant. Mine on his growled low. Climax crashed like lake waves, leaving us adrift, limbs tangled, pulses slowing to sink. In afterglow, his whisper feathered my temple. This is real, real. The word anchored against the tide of tomorrow. Night deepened, lake lapping rhythmic outside, a counterpoint to our quiet. Ethan traced patterns on my back. Lazy eights, infinity loops, his touch light as memory. Ever think about quitting? He murmured, voice sleep-thick. The question startled, vulnerability cracking open. I propped on elbow, studying his face in moonlight. Shadows pooling in hollows, the job? Or a gesture encompassing us, the room, the road? He chuckled soft, breath warm on my skin. Both. This life, it's a grind. Meetings, metrics. Feels like I'm driving someone else's route. His fingers stilled, pressing palm flat. I nodded, tasting the truth bitter. All the time. But you're the map, Ethan. Lies half he was, but maps change. His kiss then was tender, sealing the ache. Sleep claimed us piecemeal, dreams weaving highway lights into constellations. Nevada border blurred in dawn haze, the truck devouring miles toward Reno's glitter. But the rail pull was the void between us. Last night's truths festering like unpatched tires. Ethan drove this leg, hands sure on the wheel, jaw set against the wind's whine through cracked window. At 42 he wore command like cologne, but cracks showed. The way his eyes flicked to the mirror, checking for tails that weren't there. Me shotgun, nursing a thermos of gas station Joe. Stale, acidic, mirroring my gut. 28 felt fragile now, glass under boot, every bump threatening shatter. Penny, I ventured, voice cutting the eagle's fade out. He glanced, green eyes shadowed. Just the board. They smell weakness like blood. A pause, blinker ticking accusation as he merged. The scent of sagebrush rushed in, dry and choking. Weakness. I shifted, leather creaking. And if they do? His laugh barked short, humorless. Then I reroute. Alone. The word landed cold. A skid into gravel shoulder. Reno hit mid-morning. Casino sprawl rising mirage-like from desert floor. Neon ghosts dormant in daylight. Air humming with promise and pitfall. Client lunch at a steakhouse off the strip. Dark wood panels. Air thick with seared meat sizzle and cigar ghosts. I sat silent mostly, forking ribeye that bled juice onto plate, while Ethan charmed, voice smooth, anecdotes landing like loaded dice. His foot found mine under linen, though brief press, lifeline in the schmooze. Post-meal, we escaped to Virginia Street, sidewalks cracked but pulsing, slot machine jangles spilling from open doors. Ever gamble? He asked, arm brushing mine in the crowd. Heat-baked concrete, sweat beating my temple. Lost $50 in Vegas once. Chasing blackjacks. He grinned, steering us into a dive bar. Dim, sticky floors. Jukebox crooning Merle Haggard about mamas and trains. Beers arrived frosty. Condensation dripping like tears. Life's a bluff, Alex. You fold or go all in. His knee nudged mine on the stool. Eyes locking over foam. All in. The dare hung, my pulse betting heavy. I'm in, I said quiet, hand covering his on the scarred wood. Squeeze back, firm, final. Afternoon wandered us to the Truckee River. Path winding under willows drooping lazy. Water gurgle soothing the casino din. We walked close, shoulders bumping rhythm. Air laced with river damp and pine sap. Ethan stopped at a bend, skipping stones. Plinks echoing sharp, ripples spreading like spilled secrets. Dad taught me that, he said, arm arcing smooth. Before he bailed. The plunk hung, vulnerability surfacing. I picked a flat shale, flicking it, 2 bounces, then sink. Mine stuck around, but distant, like present but checked out. A sigh escaped, carrying weight of unspoken pleas. His arm slung my shoulders then, pulling close. Casual to passers-by, anchor to me. We're not them. Not them. The promise warmed, chasing river chill. We lingered till sun dipped, shadows stretching long as regrets. Motel was Silver Sage, faded glamour, rooms with balcony views of flickering signs. Dinner. Drive-through tacos, shells crunching spicy, eaten parked overlooking the neon sprawl. Laughter flowed easy, reminiscing botched Vegas trips, the time he lost a tie to a stripper pole bet. But undercurrents pulled. His hand on my neck, thumb circling tense muscle. Tonight, he murmured, voice low over salsa tang. No holding back. Back in room, balcony door ajar, city hum filtering in like accomplice. We undressed deliberate. His shirt peeled slow, revealing chest hair curling dark. My jeans shucked, vulnerability bare. Bed claimed us urgent, mouths mapping fevered paths. His teeth grazing collarbone, drawing gasp. My nails raking back, earning growl. Rhythm built tidal, bodies slick, breaths ragged counterpoint to distant horns. Release shattered, leaving us heaving, limbs entwined, neon pulsing through curtains like heartbeat. After, his murmur in dark, scared, honesty clawed up, terrified, his hold tightened. Me too. Night deepened. Reno's glow bleeding under door, a reminder of facades. Ethan rose for water, glass clinking sink, returning to slide beside me. Cool skin pressing warm. Tell me a secret, he prompted, finger tracing lip. The request intimate, air thick with post-storm quiet. I wrote poetry in high school. Bad stuff. About boys. Laughter bubbled mine, self-deprecating. He propped, eyes curious. Read one. Heat flushed, but words tumbled. Lines about stolen glances in locker rooms. Echoes of showers hissing steam. His kiss silenced applause, soft, approving. Beautiful. My turn. Your ink. Finger to compass rose. For my brother. Died young. Drunk drive. Voice cracked. Raw. I kissed the lines, tongue tasting salt. Sleep wove slow. Dreams of neon rivers carrying us west. Dawn cracked harsh. Coffee brewing acrid in the pot. We packed quiet. Duffel zipping accusation. Vegas today, Ethan said, loading the truck, muscles flexing under tea. The drive east reversed us, toward glitz, away from wild. Tension rebuilt, his hand on gearshift brushing mine accidental electric. About last night, I started, desert blurring gold. He glanced, jaw tight. Don't regret, just navigate, navigate. Corporate speak for survive. My chest ached, a slow leak. Billboards loomed. What happens here? Promises mocking. Vegas rose abrupt, towers thrusting skyward, air shimmering heat. Client dinner loomed, but first, a detour. Pull off, he directed, voice edged. We veered to Red Rock Canyon, trails snaking rust formations, wind whispering through junipers sharp-scented. Hike silent at first, boots crunching gravel, sweat beating brows. At a vista, city sprawled distant jewel box, he stopped. I love you. Words exploded soft, wind stealing edges. Love. My breath hitched, world tilting. Ethan. Arms crushed, kiss desperate. Dust on lips, heart against heart. Below, Vegas pulsed indifferent, but here direction locked. Vegas clawed us in by twilight, the strip a vein of excess. Fountains dancing synchronized to pop beats, air thick with perfume and desperation. We checked into the client hotel, a monolith of marble and mirrors. Bellagio suites, keycard beeping entry to opulence that felt like chains. Ethan in suit sharp, me in button-down crisp. We descended to the casino floor. Chimes and cheers a cacophony, slots whirring like hungry beasts. Dinner was schmooze. Steakhouse dim, leather booths swallowing whispers, clients toasting expansions over scotch that burned smooth. Ethan's charm flowed. Stories of Chicago winters, blizzards blanketing streets in hush. But his knee pressed mine under table, anchor amid the roar. To bold moves, A client clinked, oblivious. Bold. Yeah. My pulse thrummed, wine warming veins. Post-dinner, we slipped away. Elevator rising smooth, his hand low on my back, heat through fabric. Sweet door clicked, world shutting out. Finally, he breathed, tie yanked free, mouth claiming mine fierce. Teeth nipping, tongue demanding. We crashed to the king bed, silk duvet bunching, city lights striping skin through shears. Hands roamed frantic, his unbuttoning me, fingers trembling on pearl. Mine shoving his shirt, nails scraping chest. Gasps punctuated, Ethan fuck. His name invocation. Rhythm savage, hips bucking to bed's creak, sweat slicking slides. Climax ripped mutual. Cries muffled into shoulders. Leaving us limp, breaths sawing air. After, balcony called night air cool contrast. Strips glow a distant fire. He leaned rail, shirt open, wind ruffling hair. This city's a lie, he said soft, voice carrying over traffic hum. All flash, no foundation. I sidled close, arm around waist. Then what's real? His turn, eyes on mine, green fire. You. Us. The words solidified against the ephemeral. Morning pierced hangovers, coffee room service strong, croissants flaking buttery. Client breakfast. Boardroom bland, projections droning. But Ethan's foot hooked mine under oak. Secret pulse. Wrap this, he whispered post-pitch, grip firm on my arm. We bolted west again, Vegas shrinking rear view, desert reclaiming, cacti sentinels, sun baking hood. Playlist shifted, Johnny Cash, Ring of Fire, irony blazing. About last night, I started, hand on his thigh, muscle tense under denim. He glanced, smile crooked. Every night, affection laced, easing knots. Barstow by noon, lunch at a diner chrome bright. Patty melts oozing, fries salted crisp, air greasy comfort. Remember our first meeting? He mused, ketchup smearing thumb. You spilled coffee. On my shoe. Laughter mine, vivid, stain dark. Panic hot. Panicked. Thought fired. His eyes twinkled. Hired on spot. Knew then. Knew. Layers peeled. Heart swelling. Afternoon arced toward LA. Mojave unfolding stark. Rock spires clawing sky. Heat mirage dancing. Truck AC faltered, sweat beating necks, shirts clinging. Truth or dare? Ethan prompted abrupt. Voice playful over radio static. Dare. Grin his. Kiss me. Now. Eyes on road. I leaned brief, searing, his taste lingering. Truth. I countered. Pause heavy, wind rush filling. Scariest thing I've done? Coming out. To her. Night she left. Confession raw, wind whipping words. My hand found his squeezing. Brave. His squeeze back. Your turn. Breath caught. Loving you. Before words. Silence bloomed. Profound. Miles ticking. Hearts aligning. Stop at a vista. Colorado River twisting blue below. Air shimmering heat. We stood close, arms linked, wind carrying canyon echo, vast, validating. LA sprawled by dusk, sprawl choking freeways, palm silhouettes stark against smog-orange sky. Client finale. Rooftop bar in Century City. Views endless, cocktails tart with lime. Ethan sealed the deal, handshake firm, but his wink mine. Victory shared. Hotel was Palisades Plaza. Ocean view, sweet waves crashing audible. Dinner in Sushi Fresh, wasabi bite sharp. Eaten cross-legged on carpet. City lights winking approval. End of the road, he said soft, chopsticks pausing. It bloomed, trips close, reality looming. Or beginning. My voice steady, hand on knee. His eyes held, decision brewing. Bed claimed us tender. Kisses slow, explorations languid. Bodies whispering devotions. His mouth on thigh, drawing moan. My fingers in hair, guiding. Union gentle, waves outside mirroring rhythm. Cresting, receding, eternal. After tangled, his murmur, stay, with me, stay. The offer hung, moon silvering sheets. Night deepened, ocean roar lullaby, but sleep evaded. Mind racing routes. Ethan dozed, breath even, face slack in repose, vulnerable mine. I traced jaw, stubble rasping pad, heart full terrified. Dawn would demand choices. Chicago return? Secrets resealed? Or reroute, open, together? Wind off water carried salt promise. Decisions crystallizing slow as tide. Pacific Coast Highway unspooled morning glory blew the final day. Cliffs plunging to foam-white breakers. Air brined and alive. We left LA proper at sunrise. Truck hugging curves. Ethan driving with one hand wheel ward. The other laced mine. Fingers woven permanent. At 42, he looked unburdened. Wind tousling silver threads. Green eyes squinting horizon. Me, 28 and remade, leaned headrest, salt spray misting window, heart steady first time in miles. Beach stop, he declared, veering onto a pull-out near Big Sur. Gravel crunch, gulls wheeling overhead, cries sharp as joy. We hiked down scrub trail, boots slipping on loam, eucalyptus sharp in nostrils. Sand gave soft underfoot, waves hissing retreat, cool foam licking toes. He tackled me laughing, tumbling us into surf. Water shocking cold, shirts sodden, bodies pressing buoyant. Kisses salty, fierce, sun climbing witness. Lunch roadside. Clam chowder in bread bowls, steam rising creamy, chunks chewy with sea. Picnic blanket frayed, wind tugging corners. We ate cross-legged, knees touching. Future tense, Ethan prompted, spoon scraping. You in. Words casual, weight oceanic. I nodded, throat full. All in. His smile bloomed, hand cupping cheek, thumb wiping chowder fleck. Good, because I'm done hiding. Done. Freedom's exhale, vast as the view. Afternoon traced coast. Monterey cypress twisting wind sculpted. Sea otters bobbing playful. Stops dotted. Lighthouse foghorn booming deep. Paths crunching pine needles redolent. At Carmel we wandered galleries, art bold, colors crashing like waves, his arm my waist, public now, unapologetic. This, he whispered in a sunlit room, lips to temple. Ours. Dusk gilded Bixby Bridge, span arching dramatic over chasm, ocean thundering below. We parked overlook, thermos shared, tea herbal, steaming faint. The night, I started, voice low over roar. Highway. That storm. Flash. Rain sheeting, lightning cracking. His hand mine as thunder shook cab. Pivot point. He nodded, eyes distant. Saw clear. You. Clarity's gift. Storm scoured. Night fell velvet. Stars pricking like promises. Motel, coast haven. Clifftop. Room with balcony waves serenading. Dinner. Fresh catch grilled. Lemon zest bright. Eaten al fresco, breeze cooling skin. Tomorrow home, he said, fork pausing. Home, Chicago, or redefined. My foot nudged his. Our home, affirmation sealed, eyes locking luminous. Bed awaited, sheets crisp linen scented, bodies familiar yet new. Explorations unhurried, touches mapping futures. His lips on scars unseen, drawing sighs, my hands framing face, anchoring. Union profound, rhythms sinking to surf, building, peaking, ebbing peaceful. After entwined, his voice rumbled chest. I love you, Alex. Directions changed. Love echoed back, binding. Sleep came deep, dreams of open roads, no ends. Epilogue dawned clear, highway east calling but altered. Signs read, together. Truck loaded, kiss lingering salty, we rolled. Miles later, Chicago skyline rose familiar. But us? Transformed. Office awaited. Resignations? Announcements? Irrelevant. One night pivoted us. From shadows to light, boss to partner, road trip to life. Meaning etched in every mile. Love reroutes, boldly. And we followed.